Hi guys, this is Breaker, and I am back with a replay that I took from Casted, the subsection of Reddit StarCraft 2. And this replay is just a teeny bit dated, and by a teeny bit dated, I mean, well, we actually had to go back a couple patches, but there's a few things I want to go ahead and correct, considering I'm not actually laddering right now, and that would actually just be in the way of the most simple stuff that makes I think the cinematic experience as a caster all the more enjoyable. As well as a viewer, that is. But in the lower left-hand corner, spawning as our red Protoss, I give you all... Oh, by the way, this is something new that I've been working on. Hope you guys like it. Hold on. Yeah, okay, we're good. MistyWish. Oh my god, that was such a mistake on my end, actually. That was meant to be this player. Bambi. And in the lower left-hand corner, MistyWish. Sorry about that. I hope you guys feel like GSL superstars now. Just smile, say, "Mom, I'm on TV," that kind of thing. But the map we're on right now is going to be Newkirk Precinct Tournament Edition. Most notably, the biggest difference between this edition of Newkirk Precinct as well as the... I guess you could say the one that's been in since the beta is the fact that there's no Xel'Naga watchtowers in the middle of the map, and of course this little jutting of space has been added, I think, from about this area, and it's been extended down to this area. That basically drastically reduces the amount of open airspace between our player 1 here and our player 2, which means we'll see probably less in the way, you know, it's probably going to reduce the likelihood of drop play, but I still wouldn't rule it out entirely. It's still a very, very good, viable opportunity to use a Warp Prism or Medevac drop. But ultimately, I mean, the reason why it was reduced, or the reason why this little area was nerfed, and the reason why the Xel'Naga watchtower was taken away was because I think it could have really given some players just a little bit more control over others, especially given that Zerg can freely float overlords all throughout this area for the most part. And it would go from as far as here to here to here to here, back pre-patch, if you will. But our first probe has arrived at the main of MistyWish and sees that there's, you know, perfectly ordinary opener coming his way. You can probably expect to see a Reaper, which he will. And looks like we're just gonna have MistyWish going for an engineering bay block on the natural. Cybernetics core double gas from Bambi, and that to me indicates that typically we're gonna see, perhaps, I think, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, we could see any kind of opener from this. There's like 5 different openers you can do with double gas before Expo. But really, this is specifically and optimally designed for a handful, mostly Force Field, Sentry Expo, Stargate Expo, Twilight Council Expo, or Twilight Council opener, excuse me, with some forward pressure contained into making an Expo. This is for map control, essentially, if you want to do that, if you want to play it out that way. But overall, it looks like, you know, Bambi, he's not quite going for that. He's not going to be able to get the Expo out anytime soon, and this is something that I see a lot of Terran players doing. They just put an engineering bay at the natural, and this means that there's nothing in the main to defend, but there soon will be a stalker out. What about our micro from Bambi? Looks optimal. Was able to save that SCV with little to no trouble. And I must say that I absolutely have no idea how the results of this game panned out or not, because honestly I was spending so much time putting emphasis on the graphics, the intros at the beginning of this game, that I really did not have time to what's the word I'm looking for, just actually review who would won or who whatever. But like, I forget most of the important information about this replay. All I can remember is it was back and forth in the description, and that's it. So MistyWish comes back, sees there is an Expo, knows it's not an all-in, putting that Reaper to its maximum use. Oh, but a patrolling Stalker is going to shut down that Reaper, or is it? I believe so, to an extent. No. Okay, and speaking of, this one goes up into the natural, just pokes around, and I'm wondering what that Zella was doing there. Maybe it was just lagging behind, a little slow to the party, but here we go. Robotics facility now going down for Bambi. And Cybernetics core tech is just about done, so what is he floating all these resources for? I mean, well, not really floating resources, but more particularly gas. What's he using that for? And I love what MistyWish is doing right here. Just trying to pick off any SCVs that he can. It'd be golden if he could get that mule, but no cigar. No cigar. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe what happened just now for Bambi was just basically he was taxing his own micro, so he couldn't really multitask all that well. But he's floating a lot of gas right now, and I think that's actually due to the fact that he was engineering bay blocked, if you will. So this is going to be a forward gate robo, maybe a forward pressure into contain, if not just macro mode. But behind all this from MistyWish, we have the definitive bio follow-up. That is to say, he's getting +1 infantry weapons. There is no stim just yet. And he wants to be able to control the map, and as long as he has stim, he'll be able to do that. But he's going to need to be careful until he gets those medevacs out. But it's going to be a long time until we see stim or medevacs. We should sooner see medevacs than stim, I think. Reaper now coming into the main and trying to get some probe kills. Has one to this stage in the game. And the Mothership Corps coming in, and the sentries are finally shutting down the most effective scout we have seen from MistyWish now to this stage in the game. MistyWish actually moving out with no stim. This is particularly dangerous simply given the fact that we can see Stalkers chase down Marines without stim, but it just depends on how close you are to a wall or not, and whether or not those Stalkers have blink. Speaking of, we have Twilight Council on the way. And now we have Bambi kind of, oh no, he's, oh man, he could not be in a worse position right now. Well, actually I take that back. He's actually got 3 force field sentries. That's enough for 1 force field on the ramp. He could actually, after that, I think use he could place a Nexus cannon and he'd be good to go. But, he lost his sentry, no force fields placed. And yes, even though he has the Nexus cannon, well, what happened there? I could have sworn that Marine was 1 shot away from being killed. Another Twisted Tango going down in the middle of the map between Marauder, no concussive shells, and a bunch of Marines. Again, no stim. This is kind of a, I would say, a slanted, half-baked contain we have coming from MistyWish. But it's essentially going to keep our Protoss from moving out for the time being. And he could use that to basically, what's the word I'm looking for? Get his own third up and running, and it looks like he's just going to build it straight up here. No shenanigans going down in the main or anything like that, but we have nothing to indicate just yet that Bambi may be trying to oversaturate. He may be trying a 2-base all-in, and here we go. We actually see MistyWish, those force fields kind of working against Bambi just a little bit. MistyWish trying to poke up there with some unstim Marines and a couple of Marauders that really have no concussive shells. Alright, so for the time being, probe production has been cut, so that means we could actually see Bambi try and push back now and try and end the game in the near future. Blink is being researched. We also have +2 armor on the way. Typically, we only see +2 armor if we're going to see charge lots coming into the mix, and I really don't know how to feel about that just yet. But we do have the Stalkers just sticking around in the main for the time being. Forge now going down to get the double upgrades out, and let's see what our scan here from our Terran reveals. That would be, okay, basically, he sees everything that is coming from Bambi right now that is important. You know, the Forge, the second Forge going down, the High Templar, he's gonna, or the Templar Archives, he's gonna get his own Ghost Academy soon, I imagine, but before he does that, he's gonna try and poke up the ramp again, try and cause some forward pressure, some damage of some sort. But if we really want to see Bambi shut down his opponent in the near future, he's going to need to get Colossi in the mix for the, you know, to just absolutely meat grind all of the bio that gets thrown at him. Psystorms and Colossi combined do a lot of damage, just immense amounts of damage. Let's forget the fact that a single Psionic Storm is able to kill an entire group of Marines. But I want you instead to think about maybe what Psionic Storm does with, you know, the Colossus thermal lance. Not the extended thermal lance, but just the attacking thermal lance. But speaking of, we have no robotic support bay to the best of my knowledge. We do not. But we do have a double medevac drop going into the natural. Stalkers slightly out of position. They can still blink back into action whenever. Storm's going down on the Ford Bio that's trying to attack at the front door. The natural. Oh, man, it's actually... Oh, man, that's such a dirty cake right there. As we did see up the pylon fall just as a bunch of Zealots were warping in. I don't think they have charge, but they are going to be able to tank for the Protoss units that we have here. And speaking of tanking, those Immortals are doing a good job at the natural. But the biggest problem, I think, is here in the main. As you can see, oh man, that robotics bay falls before whatever was in it could have been finished. Okay, so right now, the overall condition for Bambi is not looking that great. He's got to go ahead and get a third. He has to, and he knows that, I think. Somehow he knows that his opponent is up on economy. But as long as he's on 2 base, yeah. As long as he's on 2 base, he knows that he can at least play this out somewhat defensively. Like, his opponent can just throw non-stop waves of Marines at him. And as long as he keeps his proportioning with, say, High Templar in proper alignment, then he'll be good to go. And finally, we see the Ghost Academy going down for MistyWish. And another medevac drop going down in the main, perhaps? I don't know, I feel that observer, it just, oh. Anyway. Here goes the drop, and probe number 1 falls. Probe number 2 falls, there's a warp in, but Zealot Leg's not quite done yet, so the concussive shell's basically negating almost any damage that we have coming from these guys. But the photon overcharge activated on the main nexus just shoos away that medevac for the next 60 seconds or so. Both players just building up their armies. Mobius Reactor now getting done, aka, or now getting researched, aka the EMP switch, if you will. EMP switch because, of course, when it is finished, all the ghosts that pop out of the barracks will immediately be able to throw down EMPs. But this, I think, is the one window of opportunity that we have to see Bambi attack, basically. And he realizes that because he's got so much energy on these High Templar. Are there any ghosts in the mix right now? The first ones have not entered the battlefield. They've got about 10 seconds until they pop, but even then, they've got the rally point from the barracks to the front lines to worry about. Scan going down somewhere in all this, right over here, trying to find that main army, and now I think MistyWish just realizes, oh shit, I'm in a tough spot right now, and there it is, the stem, a move, dodging the storm, using one small group of his army, and using the medevac to actually try and locate the, locate his opponent's main army. It's just not quite working out, and Bambi seems to be trying to stay away from the, from the Colossus route quite religiously. Medevac drop gets shut down because it's at full HP, and it looks like we're gonna have maybe some kind of double-pronged harass attack, I don't know, but MistyWish, meanwhile, excuse me, not double-pronged harass, but ooh, that was big. +3, I think, just got canceled for our Protoss. Yeah, it got canceled. I mean, he didn't get the money back for it, but it was destroyed on the forge. Excuse me. So I just think that's so huge, because that means the Zealots in the next engagement will not be as tanky as they are usually speaking, but both players are getting closer to that 200-200 army, and unfortunately, as it is for our Protoss, he's going to be behind in upgrades at 2-2 and 3-3, but I believe it was Axlab who said that there's not too much of a difference between +3, and +2. So let's just hope this engagement goes well for Bambi so we can see this game carry on a little longer. Scans going down everywhere, and it looks like we have a bunch of ghosts that are reluctant to engage. Excuse me, they pull back, then they chase, they pull back, then they chase, and I think they're just going to keep on chasing until they get an opportunity to get that golden EMP that they've been looking for. But there's just so many ghosts here, I don't know how that's going to work out. Getting any storms out, we need to see spreads on the High Templar. One Stalker kind of gets thrown out there, blinks back defensively, Pylon gets shut down. And the Ghost taking the lead. +3 is about to finish up for our Terran. And he's got a 4th base behind all of this. So yes, this is kind of back and forth, but we need to see Bambi just do things immaculately well in the near future. I don't think he's got any way to handle these ghosts. I can't think of anything except for, say, perhaps amazing positioning. And once the High Templar are dead, that's when the entire engagement goes in favor of our Terran, because he's not going to have any way to get those golden storms off. Those money storms, the things that can kill a Terran army in a matter of seconds. He's getting extended thermal lance now, and the first Colossus is now entering the battlefield. There's only 1 or 2 Vikings out. And we have more and more in the way of weapons coming down for Bambi. He's going to try, you know, I mean, the Zealots, they're going to kind of force some EMPs from our Ghost here, obviously, but not the bulk of them. And, oh, man, the High Templar get pulled back at the last second, and the Ghosts are getting forced out of position by the High Templar. The Storms are going to perhaps just be one beautiful storm, and that's it. Fortunately, another one follows up. There is enough energy for one more storm on those High Templar. But now, ultimately, it looks like we have Bambi being pushed back to his third base, where he's going to be forced to defend. Beautiful storm yet again, putting a lot of those Marines and Marauders into red HP. Charge Blast going forward. Another beautiful storm following it up, and it looks like Bambi is going to be able to hold this in the near future. Yes. All he has to do is get a 4th base started. He's got a probe in the proper position, and we see MistyWish now pulling back. Okay. So Bambi slightly ahead in terms of army supply, but the bigger problem for Bambi right now is economy. His opponent's going to have non-stop mules in the near future. How is he going to be able to, you know, counteract that? You can get some DTs out, yeah, but I mean, there's still some detection over here at that 4th base. 3rd is kind of exposed, but there's a couple of obscure missile turrets at each base, except for the main. Another storm goes, or scan goes down for our Terran, just trying to make sure he's not being followed. Maybe his eyes deceive him or something like that. And +3 armor just finished up for our Protoss, but there's no +3 attack just yet. We have Warp Prism speed, I believe, being researched right now. No, observers. Because when you need those speedy scouts. 4th base now going down for Bambi, and looks like there's a drop coming from the upper left-hand side of our base, if you will. Scan going down on top of the main army of Bambi. MistyWish now, I think, has some perspective of just where his opponent is, what he can expect, and so on and so forth. And because MistyWish can see that there's no 4th base in the upper right, he should know that there's going to be one at what appears to be a sort of pocket-ish 3 o'clock position, upper 3 o'clock position. And Protoss army is way out of position. There's no way he's going to be able to save that Nexus. He's going to try his damnedest by warping in a couple of High Templar, but they don't have enough energy for storms, so I don't see the point of that. They do shut down the medevac drop, which, I don't know, that was pretty close. That was pretty close. If he could have just pulled back his main army a little bit sooner. I think it was simply the fact that they were on this high ground over here that really cost them all that. But the 4th is going to be rebuilt soon, and MistyWish is going to kind of move on to that really soon. +3 attack now on the way for Bambi. And a 5th command center, excuse me. 4th orbital command is now on the way, is what I meant to say, from MistyWish. Curious to see where he's going to float it. Could it be here or the upper left? Anyway, both players' armies reaching 200. This is extremely crucial for Bambi, because if he can't resecure this upper right-ish base, if you will, he's going to have to be able to not only kill his opponent's main army, but deal with the reinforcements. Of course, look at the economy, the situation right now. Both players, yes, building up banks, but it's larger in terms of gas and minerals for our Protoss, excuse me, for our Terran. So here we go, the huge engagement's about to go down. Beautiful storms on top of that Terran Fireball, the armored zealots just chasing down everything that is here. And now Bambi, with 177 supply, is able to deal with the superior economy of his Terran terrorist opponent. I don't believe I've ever seen just a faster evaporation of a Terran army in front of the might of a Protoss army in my life. I don't know what to say to that, ladies and gentlemen. There's still plenty of storms left where that came from. Our Protoss only on 3.5 bases, now 4. Just now getting to 4, is going to be able to take down MistyWish, who's now only at 77 supply, 31 combat supply to 94. I just can't believe the way that's working out. The storm's going down on the planetary fortress to get those SCVs taken care of, and now all the bio coming from the natural just signals that it's not enough from MistyWish. And with that, we just see, you know, MistyWish leaving the game from a once absurdly superior position in the game to now something that I feel is, you know, pretty kind of weak. But for those of you guys who liked what you saw here today, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button. I'm working on getting some better introduction graphics, including my own voice. I need to improve that. And I apologize for the wrong introductions at the beginning of the game. This is Breaker. I'll see you guys next time.